Welcome to the Book of Genesis Bible Quiz Challenge. Before we continue, do well to subscribe if you have not. This will help us to reach other people with the gospel. Let's get started. Question 1. Who was Abraham's servant that went to find a wife for Isaac? Eliezer, Ephron, Jethro. The answer is Eliezer. Genesis, chapter 24, verses 2. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of his master Abraham and swore an oath. Though unnamed in the chapter, tradition identifies Abraham's servant as Eliezer. Question 2. What name was given to the well that the angel of the Lord found Hagar by? Beer Lahai Roi, Beersheba, Endor. The answer is Beer Lahai Roi. Genesis chapter 16, verse 14. That is why the well was called Beer Lahai Roi. It is still there between Kadesh and Bered. Beer Lahai Roi means well of the living one who sees me, symbolizing God's care for Hagar. Question 3. What was Cain's punishment after killing Abel? Driven from the garden, cursed to be a wanderer, sent to Egypt. The answer is cursed to be a wanderer. Genesis chapter 4, verse 12. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer. God's punishment made Cain a fugitive with a life of wandering. Question 4. Which descendant of Cain was known for making tools from bronze and iron? Tubal-Cain, Methuselah, Jabal. The answer is Tubal-Cain. Genesis chapter 4, verse 22. Tubal-Cain, who forged all kinds of tools out of bronze and iron. Tubal-Cain was skilled in metallurgy, a unique skill among Cain's descendants. Question 5. Who built a city and named it after his son, Enoch? Abel, Lamech, Cain. The answer is Cain. Genesis chapter 4, verse 17. Cain was then building a city, and he named it after his son Enoch. Cain built the first recorded city, showing a break from his previous punishment as a wanderer. Question 6. At what age did Noah have his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth? 100, 500, 900. The answer is 500. Genesis chapter 5, verse 32. After Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah was 500 years old when he had his 3 sons, who would repopulate the earth after the flood. Question 7. Which son did Jacob bless as having the strength of a lion? Reuben, Judah, Simeon. The answer is Judah. Genesis chapter 49, verse 9. You are a lion's cub, Judah. Jacob's blessing to Judah highlighted his strength and future prominence as a tribe. Question 8. What was the name of Abraham's father? Terah, Nahor, Haran. The answer is Terah. Genesis chapter 11, verse 26. After Terah had lived 70 years, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Terah was Abraham's father and led his family from Ur to Haran. Question 9. Who was the first person in Genesis to be recorded as having built an altar? Jacob, Noah, Enoch. The answer is Noah. Genesis chapter 8, verse 20. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord. Noah built the first altar after the flood, marking gratitude to God. Question 10. Who was Jacob's firstborn son? Benjamin, Joseph, Reuben. The answer is Reuben. Genesis chapter 35, verse 23. The sons of Leah. Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob. Reuben was Jacob's firstborn, though he eventually lost his inheritance rights. Question 11. What did Jacob name the place where he wrestled with God? Luz, Bethel, Peniel. The answer is Peniel. Genesis chapter 32, verse 30. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face." Peniel means face of God, reflecting Jacob's encounter with God during the night. Question 12. What land did Abraham purchase for Sarah's burial? Hebron, Bethel, Machpelah. The answer is Machpelah. Genesis chapter 23, verse 19. Afterward, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave in the field of Machpelah. Question 13. Who said, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good"? Moses, Joseph, Jacob. The answer is Joseph. Genesis chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done. Joseph reassured his brothers, showing that God turned their actions for a greater purpose. Question 14. Who was the king who took Sarah into his household, thinking she was Abraham's sister? Pharaoh, Abimelech, Nebuchadnezzar. The answer is Abimelech. Genesis chapter 20, verses 2. Then Abimelech king of Gerar sent for Sarah and took her. Abimelech mistakenly took Sarah, not knowing she was Abraham's wife. Question 15. How many people were saved on Noah's Ark? 7, 8, 12. The answer is 8. Genesis chapter 7, verse 13. On that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. 8 people in total. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives were saved on the ark. Question 16. Who is described as a mighty hunter before the Lord? Abel, Nimrod, Cain. The answer is Nimrod. Genesis chapter 10, verse 9. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter. Nimrod's description emphasizes his influence and prowess in the early generations. Question 17. How many years did Jacob work in total to marry Rachel? 10, 7, 14. The answer is 14. Genesis chapter 29, verse 30. Jacob served Laban for 7 years, and then another 7 for Rachel. Jacob's commitment to marry Rachel led him to work a full 14 years for Laban. Question 18. What did God create on the 4th day of creation? Land and seas, birds and fish, sun, moon, and stars. The answer is sun, moon, and stars. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 19. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years." The 4th day involved the creation of heavenly bodies, marking time and seasons. Question 19. Which son of Jacob was given a coat of many colors? Reuben, Joseph, Benjamin. The answer is Joseph. Genesis chapter 37, verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more, and he made an ornate robe for him. Joseph's coat marked Jacob's special love for him, inciting jealousy among his brothers. Question 20. What was the original name of Sarah, Abraham's wife, Rachel, Sarai, Deborah? The answer is Sarai. Genesis chapter 17, verse 15. As for Sarai, your wife, you are no longer to call her Sarai. Her name will be Sarah. Sarai's name change symbolized her role in God's covenant promise through Abraham. Question 21. In whose tent did Rebekah meet Isaac for the first time? Sarah's, Leah's, Rachel's. The answer is Sarah's. Genesis chapter 24, verse 67. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah. Rebekah entered Sarah's tent, symbolizing the continuation of family blessing and covenant. Question 22. Who was the oldest man recorded in Genesis, and how long did he live? Lamech, 750 years. Methuselah, 969 years. Noah, 950 years. The answer is Methuselah, 969 years. Genesis, chapter 5, verse 27. Altogether, Methuselah lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. Methuselah's lifespan of 969 years was the longest recorded, emphasizing early human longevity. Question 23. Who was the mother of Ishmael, the one who humbles himself? Sarah, Hagar, Leah. The answer is Hagar. Genesis, chapter 16, verses 15. So, Hagar bore Abram a son. Hagar bore Ishmael, making him the firstborn of Abraham, but not the child of promise. Question 24. What land did God show Abraham as the promised land? Egypt, Canaan, Babylon. The answer is Canaan. Genesis chapter 17, verse 8. The whole land of Canaan, where you now reside as a foreigner. Canaan was promised to Abraham as the land for his descendants. Question 25. Who lied about his wife being his sister twice in Genesis? Isaac, Jacob, Abraham. The answer is Abraham. Genesis chapter 20, verse 2. And there Abraham said of his wife, Sarah, "She is my sister." Abraham lied twice about Sarah, fearing for his life, but showing a lapse in trust in God. Question 26. What did Esau trade for a bowl of stew? Birthright, blessing, sheep. The answer is birthright. Genesis chapter 25, verse 34. So Esau despised his birthright. Esau undervalued his birthright by exchanging it for immediate satisfaction with food. Question 27. What was the sign of the covenant God made with Abraham? Circumcision, burnt offering, sacrificial lamb. The answer is circumcision. Genesis chapter 17, verse 10. Every male among you shall be circumcised. Circumcision was the physical mark of God's covenant with Abraham and his descendants. Question 28. Who did Lot's daughters give birth to after fleeing Sodom? Moabites and Edomites, Ammonites and Moabites, Ammonites and Philistines. The answer is Ammonites and Moabites. Genesis chapter 19, verses 36 and 37. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. Lot's daughters bore Moab and Ammon, ancestors of two future nations, under dire circumstances. Question 29. What object did Jacob set up as a pillar in Bethel to remember his vision? Stone, tree, altar? The answer is stone. Genesis, chapters 28, verse 18. He took the stone he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar. Jacob used a stone as a marker at Bethel to signify his encounter with God. Question 30. Who deceived Jacob into marrying Leah instead of Rachel? Laban, Nahor, Terah? The answer is Laban. Genesis, chapter 29, verse 23. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob. Laban's deception caused Jacob to marry Leah, showing cultural customs and family dynamics. How did you do? Whether you got them all right or learned something new, remember that the journey of understanding the Bible is a lifelong adventure. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more enriching content. And share this quiz with your friends and family to see how well they know their Bible verses. See you in the next video.